Hi guys, and welcome back to Honest Pop Culture Reviews. 2019 was a great year for horror films, but there were also a few films that delivered more disappointment than scares or fear. As we welcome 2020 with bright new possibilities and horrifying opportunities, let's take a look back at the top 5 disappointing horror films of 2019. I'm Jackie K, and this is Honest Pop Culture Reviews. These films made the cut because we expected great things from them, but in the end, they just missed the boat. Fine. Well, a lot if they're on this list. The scares were lacking, story atrocious, or the acting was just trash. Number 5, Little Monsters. Currently available on Hulu for streaming, I had some pretty high hopes when I first saw the trailer for Little Monsters. It looked like a fun horror comedy, but it really lacks in the horror and only has bits of the comedy. I was expecting an updated Shaun of the Dead with a female lead, which I can get down with, especially with new horror icon Lupita Nyong'o, which I butchered because I'm terrible at names, in the lead as a kindergarten teacher, defending her class from a pet farm filled with a lot of zombies. You could casually watch this one, but honestly, it just didn't do it for me. Another zombie in the bedpan. It doesn't bring anything new to the genre, and every bit of it is predictable. If you're looking for a fun, good zombie horror comedy, I'd stick with the old reliable like Shaun of the Dead, Zombieland, or Scouts vs. the Apocalypse. Number 4, Happy Death Day to You. Here is the first sequel listed today, and just like the other sequels soon to be mentioned, had a solid first installment, only to fall flat during that second act. Don't get me wrong, I loved the first Happy Death Day from 2017. I was excited and expecting great things from its sequel. We had the main cast back, the same premise. I was waiting for some splendid Groundhog Day deaths again. It was formulaic, but great. Sadly, To You is less horror and more science fiction. And it's a good movie, just not one that I or the rest of the audience wanted. There is talk that the creators intended this film to be a trilogy, and I hope that still happens, but You Too is lackluster and needs to get back to its horror roots. Watch the original or Back to the Future for a better film experience. Number 3, In the Tall Grass. When the first trailer dropped for In the Tall Grass, it seemed as though the world was lit with excitement for a new Stephen King and Joe Hill adaptation. Sadly, when it finally premiered on Netflix, it was terrible. Long in the tooth, a promise probably not proper for film, maybe an episode of X-Files, but certainly not a full-fledged film for the biggest streaming giant in the game. The film is all over the place, and if you even want to get an inch of understanding it, you'll probably have to YouTube an ending explained. Trust me when I say you should stay far away from the tall grass. And if you're interested in a crop full of Stephen King fears, maybe kick it back to Children of the Corn. Number 2, It, Chapter 2. And here it is, our second sequel on today's list. Ironically, if you watched my top 10 horror films of 2019 from last week, you would see that Chapter 2 was an honorable mention. But now, it's number 2 on my top 5 disappointing list for many valid reasons. Chapter 1 was amazing. I loved the film and really wanted Chapter 2 to deliver the scares and accomplish the giant storyline. But landing the second act with the adults must just be impossible. Even their friendship is unbelievable, and I never thought I would say this, but James McAvoy's performance is hollow and pitiful. Really, if they want to stick the landing as great as the kid actors before them, maybe when casting is released, they all spend like one weekend together so they actually seem like friends. Also, that scene where McAvoy looks down at his hand while those memories come rushing back, that whole damn scene nearly ruined the entire film for me. But Bill Hader, the gem that he is, kills as Richie. He carries the whole damn movie on his back with James Ranson, who plays Eddie, Richie and Eddie for life. The scariest thing about this film is the runtime. A kid, kinda. Let's hope that in another 27 years, we'll get an actual decent rendition of It, Chapter 2. Dishonorable mention, Satanic Panic. I tossed this one on in hopes that it was actually going to make my top 10 list. I had heard some really great things about this little film, and it had some greatish actors in it. Mostly Jerry O'Connell. But still, it was meant to be a jokey, satirical demon sacrificial film by the people who love horror, Fangoria. Sadly, it was dry, slow, and could hardly keep me focused on it. Not really worth your time. Number 1, Pet Sematary. I'm gonna tell you right now, I was pumped for this movie. I love the original. I audiobooked the novel before seeing the remake. It looked like a solid rendition from the trailers. I'm gonna tell you after watching it, how it honestly shouldn't even fucking exist in 5 sentences. There was no reason to update this movie after they gutted the heart and soul out of it. It wasn't scary, just chock full of jump scares, which says a lot about a movie. All of the symbolism was lost, and they literally had a research expositional scene instead of giving Judd more love. I was ready to walk out after 40 minutes, but was like, no, maybe they'll redeem it in the second half. And then they didn't. The best part of the whole film were the cat actors because they did a sublime job. Good job, Kit Kats. Avoid Pet Sematary 2019 at all costs. Well, that's our list. Hopefully I can save you all a few hours by avoiding these films. You could watch maybe 2 of them if you go in with very, very low expectations. But for the love that all is horror, avoid 2019's Pet Sematary and stick with watching the original. Even the sequel was better than that hot trash. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help me build this channel. Leave comments on what I could be doing better, what types of lists you want to see in the future, and what you think was the worst horror film of 2019. Tune in next week where we cover the top 5 new beginning horror films. You've been watching Honest Pop Culture Reviews. I'm your host, Jackie K, keeping pop culture honest. It was an honorable mention. We're the cacti. But Bill Hader, the gem that he is, kills as Richie. And my dogs are in here right now. Guys, go lay down. How do people breathe and speak at the same time? It's so difficult. Okay. But Bill Hader, the gem that he is, fuck these dogs! Guys, go downstairs! I'm your host, Jackie K, keeping honest pop culture, what?